Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar. It's the first time we've ran this topic. And do note that today's webinar is the first of a series of 3 webinars that we'll do, each one getting gradually more advanced. So today it's all about SEO for accountants and advisors, and frankly, for any business. And what's the point of SEO? It's about making your website actually work for you. For those of you who've not met me before, my name's Michael Carter, or MC, founder, managing director of Practice Paradox. And later I'll be introducing to you Iman Bahrani, our SEO team leader. But just first, if I could, a quick bit of background to give you some context about why Paradox is running this topic today. Paradox is a digital marketing agency. We specialize in helping accountants and business advisors and related businesses. And across the areas of strategy, design, content, actually implementing and building things in your marketing technology, and also measuring whether the marketing is actually working. When you do all 5 of those things well, your business grows. And today's topic, SEO, actually touches on all of these, particularly strategy, content, implementation, and clearly, metrics. So in terms of the content marketing cycle, which is the central model that we teach you, it's a series of steps that each leads to the other. Today's topic relates primarily to attracting targeted traffic to your website. And there are various ways to do it, but SEO is, as you'll soon learn, the highest ROI activity that you can do around your website and generating traffic to it. So without any more ado, I will now hand over to Iman Bahrani, our SEO team leader at Paradox, to give you some background about how he came to where he is, and then to teach you some eye-opening, maybe jaw-dropping things. Iman.
Thank you very much, MC. Lovely introduction there. Ladies and gentlemen, very, very excited to be doing this first SEO webinar for 2016, where I'll be discussing with you what SEO is. You know, some of you may have actually heard about it. Some of you may be scratching your head saying, oh, look, what is this whole noise about online marketing and SEO? Why do I get these emails saying we'll get you on the first page of Google? So we'll dispel a lot of those sort of questions and myths around SEO. And today is going to be very exciting because we will be giving you a lot of golden nuggets of information. This is not just going to be sort of a FYI where you just take some information and not be able to action anything. We'll give you some really, really top-notch information you can actually use today to propel your business in the right direction and get extra exposure, traffic, and inquiries. So MC, thank you again for the introduction. Just to give you a bit of a background on myself, I'm the SEO manager for Practice Paradox and the online marketing strategist. My SEO goes back over 12 years ago, where I actually started SEO as a hobby. I was creating websites, trying to get them on the first page of Google, and this actually ended up being a very important topic around, the online marketing forums and channels where companies like Flight Center, Realstar.com.au started taking this very, very seriously as Google started growing into the behemoth they are now, commanding over, I think at the time of research, 95% of the Australian search engine traffic. So yeah, they are actually ahead of Yahoo, Bing, and all the other search engines put together. Crazy stuff. So my motto in life is work hard in silence, let your success do all the talking. This is especially true with SEO because there's a lot involved with search engine optimization. You have to currently be ahead of the curve. Google's changing almost every day. There's new rules, new heuristics. And if you're not ahead of everyone else in terms of education and practice, then you really do fall behind. So without any further delay, let me get into the meat of the presentation. Okay, what is SEO? SEO, by definition, is the process of improving the website in order to show up and rank in the search engines, namely Google, and to allow people to search for you when looking for a product or service or information. So an example of a keyword is what you can see here, it says accountant for small business. Accountant for small business is a keyword because that's what people are typing in to Google to basically find a product or to find a service provider, that actually caters for their small business. So in other words, keywords are key phrases or phrases that you enter Google when you're looking for a product or service. Sometimes you may be hearing people saying organic rankings will get you up on the first page organically. It's the same thing, really. SEO rankings are quite synonymous with organic rankings. So the two are actually the same thing. Okay. One of the most common questions we get at Practice Paradox, a lot of people ask us, what's the difference between where it says ads on the very top of the page or the right-hand side of the page, and also where the maps are listed here, where you can see the dark blue color, and the area which is the light sort of thing. My screen showing is light green. I hope you see the same thing. To give you a bit of a clarity, what you see on the top here, this is called PPC or paid traffic. Google's version of paid traffic is called AdWords, and it can be really, really expensive. Some of the niches are crazy expensive. For example, one of the more expensive niches is loans or debt collection. They are expected to pay as much as $90 per click. So suppose you go on the first page, you see their ad there, you click on it by mistake, and you click back button, you just lost $90 like that. It can be very expensive, and the biggest drawback to paid traffic is that once your funds run out, so does your business. It just disappears poof, off the first page of Google. The advantage SEO has over paid traffic is that your business is there 24/7. Once on the first page, you have constant exposure 7 days a week, and people actually are more prone to click on this area here, where the maps are showing, and the organic part below it. The reason being, there's a thing we call, it's a phenomenon known to Google called ad blindness. And what Google has started finding out is that a lot of people are actually not clicking on their ads. According to statistics, again, up to 30% of people only click on the very top ad here, and very, very low percentage on the right-hand side. 70% of the clicks are expected to be from the Google Maps and the SEO, or the organic rankings. Now, I did say there are two different types. There's one where it shows you the map. For example, here, Peter Green Accountants, you can see the websites showing the phone number, even the address is showing there as well. And there's a marker on the map as well, which shows where they are sort of situated. So the important thing is that some of the keywords or phrases do actually trigger a map to show against that keyword, against that business. So in other words, if you are a local business or are targeting a local sort of a locality, say like Brisbane or Sydney CBD, you are in a perfect position to actually show up, not just for the organic rankings, but to show up here as well when someone's looking for your business. This is especially important for mobile devices, where people actually expect to see an address there, and when they're walking, they can see exactly where your business is situated. This is very important for mobile marketing because right now, up to 80% of the people actually use their mobile devices or their tablets, if you will, when looking for a product or a business. So if we could go to the next slide. Now, we talked about Google being the behemoth. They're the biggest the biggest search engine company in the world. How do they compare against, say, Bing, Baidu, Yahoo? They take a very, very big part of the pie, over 89%. And I think this is actually increasing every year as we speak. So Yahoo and Bing are the second biggest players in Australia, but they're nowhere close to Google. And I think the only reason why a lot of people actually do use Yahoo and Bing is because some of the laptops or desktops that they buy automatically come pre-populated with those search engines. So people ultimately use them because that's a default search engine on their laptops or peripheral devices. So again, when people ask me, who's bigger, Google, Bing, or Yahoo, I just say, hey, look, why don't you Google it? And that pretty much sums up why Google is always going to be at the very front of the search engine war, and they keep winning every year with their productivity and innovation. So one of the most important questions we do get is, why do I need SEO? Why is SEO so important? Obviously, SEO's job is to help people find your product, service, or business. That's a given. SEO builds trust and authority. Think of being on the first page of Google as prime real estate. When people see on the first page of Google, they automatically, subconsciously assume that, okay, look, you've actually got marketing behind you, you're a legitimate organization. Google trusts your business enough to list you on the first page of Google. And this is exactly the perception you want to give your audience: trust and authority. And number one ranking indicates best of class. Again, going back to trust and authority, when you rank number one, it shows to your prospective clients or the inquiry people who are looking to get an inquiry or buy from you, that, okay, look, you've actually done the work. You're on the first page of Google. You've got age. You've got sometimes you actually end up having reviews showing for your business. And when we actually engage in an SEO campaign, we help our clients or members get reviews and have those reviews showing. And naturally, when people see you on the first page of Google for a product or service that looking at acquiring, they also look at reviews. The higher reviews you have, it indicates you are the best of class, and this actually sets you apart from everybody else in the market. Fourthly, SEO drives more online and offline sales. One of the most interesting things, having worked with close to 1,000 websites and different projects over the course of 12 plus years in SEO, I've always seen that SEO heavily outdid social media, even paid traffic in terms of sales and inquiries. Once again, trust and authority are the biggest center points of SEO. They are there because people trust what they see on the first page, ranking organically. And SEO does exactly that. SEO's traffic has the highest conversion. Again, this goes back to point number 4. It is the highest conversion from any other funnel. But it's an important thing to understand that SEO is not a straightforward thing. It's not a one-night process where you do the work once and you automatically assume to be ranking on the first page of Google, because that doesn't work like that. With SEO, you need to basically set yourself apart by building trust, which happens only over time. SEO is a process that takes time. It can take up to several months depending upon the competitiveness of your niche, and how many other businesses are doing SEO. So what you're trying to do is not only catch up with these other businesses that have been doing SEO for a long time, but beat them at their own game. And this is exactly what we can help you with. SEO is measurable. This is a very big thing. Some businesses worry, okay, SEO, great, it will generate traffic to my website. But how am I able to measure the traffic that's actually coming to my website? How am I able to tell if it's actually produced any ROI? The simple answer to that is that Google provides their own tool. One of the premier tools that they do provide is called Google Analytics, which a lot of websites have by default these days. It tells you exactly where the traffic is coming from, what keywords people actually entered Google to find your business, and also how many inquiries or sales you've had coming through to your business, in case you have a conversion funnel in place. If your business does not have a conversion funnel or doesn't have a way of measuring the online traffic, please do speak to us. We can definitely help you with that. SEO beats paid traffic and also social media marketing. This is a big, true, tried and tested. We've got the statistics to prove it time and time again. Paid traffic is good. It works extremely well for certain niches, but it's a lot of time burn and churn sort of campaign where you have to actually spend a lot of money to find out what keywords actually will convert for you when you're doing paid traffic, such as Google AdWords. SEO, on the other hand, basically generates higher conversions because people know exactly what they're searching for. And opposite to paid traffic is more to do with people shopping around to look for a product or service, whereas SEO, people are higher likely to convert because they know exactly what they're after. Your competitors are doing it. That's the biggest reason why to get into SEO, because SEO is competitors are doing it for a reason. It simply works for them. They understand the value of SEO and why it's so important to them. And ultimately, in this day and age, if we do not catch up with our competitors or try to be competitive, we are far behind, and that's the last thing we want. SEO is not a cost; it's a high return on investment in your business. Again, you have to look at SEO as an investment, and this is going to help you understand it's a long-term thing and not an overnight success. So, MC, this is where I actually hand off to you again. We're going to be doing a very quick poll, and MC, if you could just kindly take people through this poll, it'll be fantastic.
Sure. Okay, thanks, Iman. And speaking of why, it's all about getting a return on investment on your website. So in a moment, I'm going to launch a poll, and you're going to see those options. Are you getting a great return on investment from your website? You're very happy. A reasonable ROI, a poor ROI, no ROI, or no idea of the ROI, which some might term NFI. That's another topic for another day. So I'm just going to launch the poll now. And this is interaction time. We're going to keep the poll live until the majority of you have voted. Let's see. So you just click the button and then do submit, and we'll get a good idea of everyone in the room, so to speak, a virtual room, people in multiple countries, multiple time zones right now. Okay, just waiting a few more of you to vote. Good percentage of you voted now. I'll end that poll now, and I shall share the results. Okay, so you can see the results on screen for yourself. Let's step them through. 2% of you are getting a great return on investment. You're very happy with the ROI. 28% reasonable ROI. More than a third poor ROI. No ROI on 9%, and no idea. So most of you in this webinar are good with numbers. So that's 36. We've got 45, 65, 71%, if that's correct, of us here who just took part in that poll are getting a poor, no, or no idea ROI. So thanks for taking part in that poll. That now gives some context to continue on with the specifics and the how-tos about SEO. Thanks, Iman. Back to you.
Thank you very much, MC. That's a very eye-opening poll, and it's quite common to see that sort of thing where the return on investment through the website is not very good, and it's definitely something that search engine optimization or SEO can help. So if I continue along, let's have a look here. How do I improve my website's rankings? That's the first question we need to talk about with SEO. So there are two aspects of an SEO. First is the on-page. The on-page refers to the actual things that you can control on your website. The content, the coding, the architecture, for example, the navigation, how fast your website's loading, the presence of a sitemap. There are over 50-point checklist with the SEO on-page that we look at when we're doing a website audit. But those are some of the ideas, just to give you a general idea of what an on-page is. And of course, there are violations, such as hiding content or keyword stuffing. Keyword stuffing, for those who are not aware of it, are things like, for example, you're writing your content on your website, and you just absolutely go crazy with writing accounting, mention that 100 times in order to rank that on the first page of Google. Now, the reason why people may do that, it used to work really good back in the day when Google was still in its very infancy stages. They used to be able to rank websites very easily on the first page, and all you had to do is keep keyword stuffing. Mention your keyword 10,000 times, or something ridiculous, and you would automatically be on the top. Now, the rules have changed very, very heavily. If you do that, you're out of the picture. Your business basically gets de-indexed, or what we call blacklisted, which is a kiss of death for any business and the last thing you want happening when you're online. The other aspect to improving your website's rankings is the off-page. Now, the off-page is all about links back to your website. The way it works, it's the same as politics. It's voting for a certain person. The more votes you have going towards a particular individual, the higher they start to rank in the political circles, and then they end up becoming prime minister or president. So with Google, the way they see links from other websites, like, for example, Yellow Pages, press release websites, other bloggers, other business websites back to your website, Google starts saying, okay, look, these websites are voting in favor of this particular target website. In other words, they start thinking your website is an important website. I mean, why else would all these websites start talking about you and social sharing your website, talking about you on the Facebook, Twitter mentions, and following you on these social websites as well? What happens over time is that it builds trust and authority in your website. And the longer you stay online, which we talk about, this is called the history. The longer you're online, the better it is, because people trust websites that are aged. They have a bit of history to them. They have been online for a while, and they have all these links from other websites, as we spoke about, pointing to your website. So when other websites actually see your website's getting shared and mentioned, they in turn think your website's important. It's almost like a dominoes effect. You have that small trickle of websites linking to you, and then it just gets bigger and bigger along the line. And ultimately, this is what gets you on the first page of Google. So, for example, if your website was a, say, business valuation website, your main product was business valuation, and you have other websites talking about, okay, for business valuation advice, click on xyz.com.au, or people on Facebook say, oh, I've had my business valuated by xyz.com.au, please refer to these guys, or they mention you on Facebook. Google is sitting behind the scenes listening in on these signals. They actually start noticing all these websites talking about you, as mentioned, and then your reputation and your rankings go up on the first page of Google. On page, maybe the easy part. There are a lot of tools out there that give you free advice on the on page, but off page is where you really require some expertise, knowledge on how to do it correctly. So the first part of on page comes what we call the keyword research. I mentioned on the first point. Keyword research is the art of finding the correct keywords for your business. So it is the most important first step, and it's the process used to find and research actual search terms that people enter into search engines. So search terms are obviously what I showed before. When you go to Google, in the search box, you type in something that's called a search term or a keyword. Finding the right keywords make or break the SEO campaign. This is very true. There's a saying in SEO 101, choose the wrong keywords at your own peril. So in other words, if you do not go for the right keywords, you're wasting a lot of time and energy trying to rank the wrong keywords that are either too broad or what your audience is not looking for. That's the last thing you want. Tools that can help you find the right keywords for your business, the Google Keyword Tool, Google Trends, and Google Insights. I will go through Google Trends and Insights in future webinars because these are a bit more hands-on and more involved to them. But what I will be covering today with you guys is the Google Keyword Tool. So I will just very quickly jump onto the Google Keyword Tool and show you how it works and why it's such a powerful tool for your business. And this is one of the golden nuggets of information that I'll be giving you today, is how to find keywords that people are actually searching for, for your business or product. So this. All right, so you should be able to see my screen now. This is the Google keyword tool, which they have very generously provided. They actually tried deleting this a few times, but to the contest of millions of SEOs around the world, they brought it back on, and thank God they haven't deleted it ever since. So let me just give you an example of a keyword search. So, for example, let's say you're an accountant based in Brisbane, and you would like to see how many people type in or search for Brisbane accountants, or let's say accountants in Brisbane. Now, this is a powerful tool because it actually allows you to select the targeting. So in this case, let's just remove United States. I don't know why that is populated by default. But you click on Brisbane. So a lot of people tend to type in the location followed by the service type. So in this case, Brisbane accountants. And let's just choose Brisbane as our target market, because that's what we're looking at getting ideas for. There we go. It populates Brisbane. Save ideas. What this is telling us, over 110 people a month are searching for Brisbane accountants. This is just an example of a keyword people type in to look for accountants in Brisbane. What Google actually does, and this is a fantastic tool to use, they tell us what other keywords do people actually search when looking for accountants in Brisbane. You will see some of the suggestions here. Accountants Brisbane being the first one that gets about 400 searches per month. Not too shabby. Accountant Brisbane, 210 searches per month. Tax accountants Brisbane, 210, and so on and so forth. When we do a keyword research, we present a lot of these type of keywords based on what offering you have as an accounting firm, what products or services you're offering to your clients, and that is where the keyword research starts from. So, for example, if you do tax accounting as one of your main services, then we'll look at keywords such as tax accountants Brisbane, tax accounting Brisbane, and build a list of keywords from there. So I hope this was just to give you a very quick overview of the keyword research. And in the future webinars, we'll be discussing exactly how to use the keyword research to the best of your ability. But for the time being, I just want to implant this in your minds of how keyword research works and how it could potentially help your business understand the best keywords to go for when writing content or doing SEO. So let me go back to my presentation again. You should be able to see my PowerPoint presentation again. MC, can you confirm that, please?
Yeah, we're good to go, Iman.
Fantastic. Excellent. All systems go. Okay, so choosing the right SEO company. The first important question is, how many years have they been in business themselves doing SEO? Obviously, you don't want to be contracting someone or using the services of a SEO company who are just in the neophyte stages of SEO, because chances are they have not done enough training or dealt with enough clients to be to get them on the first page, let alone rank themselves on the first page of Google, which makes basically tells a whole different tale. Do they have a track record of achieving results for others in your niche, basically? Using black hat versus white hat. Now, black hat is the act of spamming the search engines in order to get you on the first page of Google. These are unethical practices which still do work, but they do work temporarily. They are not long-term strategies. White hat strategies, which is what we specialize in, are methods that are safe, Google-proof. When I say Google-proof, Google's got a ton of algorithm updates every year, and they look out for signals of you doing unethical SEO. For example, spamming your web page with what we talked about before, keyword stuffing, going to unethical neighborhoods, and they are, for example, gambling websites. They are websites of questionable nature, and getting links from those websites. A link is still a very, very powerful method of ranking a website, and links from websites that are what we call unethical websites do give you that initial boost in SEO, but over time, what happens? Your website gets blacklisted, and this is a very bad ending for an SEO campaign. Do they understand your industry or profession? This is a very big question, because you don't want to be dealing with someone who deals with a multitude of industries. Let me give you an analogy here. Is imagine yourself going to a doctor, and imagine you have, say, a very bad illness. If the doctor was to prescribe for you the same prescription as everybody else coming into their office, that's not a good doctor, because every person needs to be treated differently based on the illness, based on the ailment, and what's required to remedy their illness. So if I was to treat, say, an accounting website and provide an SEO campaign the same way as another website offering, say, dog training products, that's just an example, I cannot treat them as the same way when conducting an SEO campaign, because they require a different remedy, a different diagnosis, and a different campaign structure to get them on the first page. Cheap SEO packages, that's a very big one. One of the common questions we always get is, Iman, there's someone offering us SEO for $300 a month. We're getting an SEO company offering us free SEO until they get us on the first page of Google. And usually I'd like to send them something like this. There is always someone who will do it cheaper. Cheap does not mean good. Proper SEO takes a lot of time, energy, and it's such a specialized field that you really need to engage someone who knows exactly what they're doing. Otherwise, once again, you have a very high chance of having your website or business blacklisted, and this is death of any business online. Are they number one in Google themselves? Yes, we are. If you look at some of the keywords that we are on the first page for: marketing for accountants, marketing for accounting firms, marketing services for accountants. These are some of the very competitive keywords, and we are ranking number one for the majority of these keywords. And to showcase an example of one of our clients' websites, we've hidden their name, but Accountants Orange, the number two, the ranking for both maps. This B says, the Google Maps location, and the ranking organically as well. Our methodology is not just ranking you on the first page of Google for your business. We also rank your Facebook. We aim to rank your LinkedIn profile if you have one. If you have a YouTube channel, we aim to rank that as well. So we want to make sure that you completely take over the first page of Google, which is the ultimate way of having monopoly, if you will. So 7 steps to improve your SEO today. Focus on the right keywords. Start with your strategy. Strategy is the end game, as MC was mentioning about. It's a big part of how you would start your online marketing campaign. You need to understand exactly what type of keyword you would like to present to your prospects when they're searching on Google. Create appealing content, which includes blogs, content pages. Blogs, that's one of the biggest questions we get. Blogs, do I need to create a blog for my website? Does it help with SEO? Blog is not just targeting, it's not just designed for SEO or Google, it's designed for your target audience. Chances are, if you create a very compelling and well-structured blog article, that article will get shared around. Other businesses will start linking to your blog from LinkedIn, from Facebook, or from their own website. And once again, all these links pointing back to your website, it's a signal to Google that your website is an authority website and it deserves to be ranking on the first page very high up. Allow your content to be shared via social media. All right, guys, one of the most important advice I can give you for 2016 to be on the first page of Google, you have to make sure all your social media profiles are built. That includes Facebook, YouTube. If you don't have a YouTube channel, we can help you create one, so speak to us about that. LinkedIn, Pinterest may apply to some industries if your target audience do go for Pinterest. But in Australia, I don't think Pinterest is that well established as opposed to the US or other countries, but that's picking up very, very quickly. So the top 3 would be YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn for business industries. And these are what I recommend. And also Twitter as well. My apologies. Twitter is very, very important, and that's picking up pace very quickly. Every time you put something on your website, do share that latest post on these social media channels, because they do add a lot of weight in terms of not just extra exposure, but telling the search engines, okay, your website is sharing this content and it deserves traffic through SEO. Avoid duplicate content. Never copy content from other businesses or websites. That's the crux of it. You have to make sure your content is specific to your website only. It's 100% unique. Google hates duplicate content, and it can actually get penalized for duplicating content from other websites. Google does not like lazy. They like hard work, and they reward you for hard work, putting it simply. Getting powerful backlinks from other websites. We talked about link building, which was the off page, of it for SEO. Now, it may sound easy, but getting links from other websites involves a lot of work. You have to actually contact webmasters, be in touch with bloggers, have a bit of a outreach program where you have all these bloggers or press release editors on your site. Tell them about your website and see if they can provide a link back to your website. This is where you may want to actually hire the services of an SEO company, because getting powerful links back to your website, that actually constitutes over 80% of the SEO work. It's very time consuming. It requires a specialized knowledge, and you have to know exactly how to reach out to the right target audience to get a link back to your website. Ensure your website is mobile friendly. We at Practice Paradox, we build mobile friendly websites, because now Google actually demotes websites that are not mobile friendly. So when you get a chance today, have a look at your own websites. How is it presented on the mobile devices, on the tablets, like the iPhones and iPads? Would you, if you were to be the end user of the website, would you click all the way down, or would you just click the back button because the website's not mobile friendly? So that's a very important question. How long would you stay on the website if you're your own customer? Okay, guys, so this is time to take action. What we would like to do is provide you a very time-limited complimentary SEO checkup for your website. And this is basically how to qualify to receive this report for free today. So what we're offering today as part of this webinar, to say thank you so much for staying with us and getting a service, getting a big value out of this webinar. It's a more comprehensive version of the website audit, which some of you may have seen on the website. It's valued at 198 Australian dollars, and it's available only to select few today. So it's very, very time sensitive. It's first and best rest sort of thing. This audit is actually far more in-depth than the free website audit, and it's conducted by me. So I actually go through your website, I have a look at your competitors, I have a look at some of the key products and services that you have and offer, and then I'll provide that website audit to tell you exactly how your website's measuring in terms of SEO compared with your competitors. So we have affinity capacity to provide this free SEO checkup, and therefore offer is strictly limited to the first 12 businesses who email us. Guys, please email us at grow@practiceparadox.com.au with the subject free SEO checkup, and we'll provide you that checkup within 24 to 48 hours. Once again, this is very, very space limited, so please do get back to us on this as soon as you can, and we'll look after you. So let us go to the final slide. I'd like to thank you all for attending this webinar. Now, this is the part where we go through the Q&A, and MC and I will be answering some of the questions which you guys have kindly posted up here.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks, Iman. And actually, during the Q&A, we might just stay on the previous slide anyway, so people can note down how the SEO, complimentary SEO report works.
Yes,
and
definitely.
Iman, you said the subject line's got to be free SEO checkup. They've got to put please on the end, or we're not giving it. I jest. All right, yep. So let's go. Let's deal, Iman, with these questions. Looking down the list here, I've got Ooh, geez, about 9 of them. So we could easily spend a long time on any one of them. So let's fly through them. Firstly,
Certainly.
Elizabeth asks, what can you do about not wanting to have a street address listed in Google Places if you don't have a physical office that leads or clients can visit? Is there any way to still appear in those map searches, so the Google Places results at the top? After you answer this, I've got a quick thing I'd like to add as well.
Thank you so much for that question. That's a great question, Elizabeth. And the short answer is yes, there is a way to hide your physical address so people don't actually walk up to the office. What happens is that there's a thing called Google My Business, which you create to show up, for your location. And what they actually ask you is, what's your street address? Once your Google My Business is verified, they send you a postcard or they give you a phone call to verify your address. Once your business is actually verified, then you can hide your street address just to show the suburb and the country. So it's definitely possible. Maybe a bit technical, so if you require help with that aspect, just let me know and I'll be more than happy to assist you in that. But yes, it is very, very possible, and thank God for that.
And just on a non-SEO topic, I would ask someone in that situation without a physical address to think through the trust perception when someone's dealing with an accountant, business advisor, financial advisor. If there's not a physical address there, I personally think outside of SEO considerations that reduces trust. So there are ways that you can have a physical address without actually having to have a full office through service offices and the like. But for now, we'll park that one there. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you for that.
Now, Steve asked, is there any difference between using web builders like Wix, which is a DIY one, versus WordPress? And there's 2 types of WordPress, self-hosted versus WordPress.com. So does that affect your SEO, which platform you use?
Yeah, certainly. Another great question. Thanks for that, Steve. It definitely makes a difference what platform you use, Wix versus WordPress. Wix tends to be less SEO friendly. There are a lot of, we've done tests over hundreds of different Wix websites, because one thing we do as an SEO, before we actually do a campaign, we have to test very, very heavily on example websites or test websites and see how SEO reacts to that platform. What we found is that Google actually does not really take heed of, how, it doesn't matter if it's WordPress, Wix, or any other website. What they care about is actually the back-end coding. Unfortunately for Wix, it's a very, very polluted back-end coding. It's very hard it doesn't have a structure. It's too code-heavy, and Google does not like code-heavy websites. So we tend to stick to WordPress because WordPress is much more SEO-friendly. It's got a lot of plugins. It's actually faster, and the most important thing with WordPress is that it can be easily customized, whereas Wix is very, very hard. It's drag and drop in a lot of cases. But in terms of ranking, Wix did not perform as good as WordPress. As a matter of fact, they performed quite poorly.
If anyone would like some examples of some WordPress sites we've built last year, email grow@practiceparadox.com.au requesting some links, and we'll show you some of the WordPress-based sites. We personally think WordPress is a fantastic platform, and it's got a lot of very SEO-friendly features that we won't delve into now. Now, this next question, Iman, Derek asks, relates to some other questions as well that we'll get to. If you have 40 or 50 accounting firms using SEO services in Brisbane, for example, how do you get on the first page of Google? Everyone's expecting to be on the first page, but you can only fit so many on the first page. And later on, Iman, if you'd like to comment on the long tail concept versus the head and broad versus narrow, but over to you to respond to that one. Got a whole bunch of people wanting to rank for the same thing.
Yeah, certainly, and this is why we were saying that it's a limited place only for the SEO audit, because we can only help a handful of websites at a time for a particular location. It does not make sense for us to be doing SEO for, say, 10 businesses all targeting Brisbane. The truth is, there's enough clients, there's enough traffic to go around for everyone. But again, spaces are very limited. We tend to work with 3 or 4 clients on each and every location, because you will not rank number 1 for absolutely everything on the first page. Google does not like to see that sort of a monopolistic competition. They will give others a fair try and get them ranking for different keywords. the great thing is we don't have to be greedy in this, for lack of a better word, in this industry, because there are hundreds of thousands of different search terms that it can actually be on the first page or number one position for. There's plenty of traffic to go for everyone. But then again, as mentioned, the spaces are very, very limited, and we do work with a handful of clients in each and every location. So I hope that answers your question.
So we would say no to a regional firm that's in a city with a similar strategy and similar target keywords if we're already working with someone like that. For those of you who were at our marketing masterclass late last year, one of the concepts we explained was the long tail. Won't explain it now, we don't have time. But in short, it's not a good idea to thrash about in the bloodied waters of competition where everyone's trying to get accountant or, short description of your name and your city name. Because a lot of people are trying to do that. In the Google keyword tool, there's competitiveness and there's volume. So there's a trade-off between how competitive they are and is there enough volume. The long tail are longer, more specific phrases that you can dominate in Google. Now, at the start of today, I ran through it very quickly, but the content marketing cycle, the diagram, actually, Iman, if you don't mind, bringing up one of those early slides with the content marketing cycle, that's why you always need to start with strategy. You'll bang your head up against a brick wall doing a website, doing SEO, doing social media, doing blogging if you don't have a clear strategy right from the outset. So that's just so crucial. So that's where we make sure that we educate you about this rather than just be a standalone SEO company or just a standalone social media company, which can tend to have that syndrome where, to a hammer, everything looks like a nail. They think SEO is the answer and that's the only answer. SEO is powerful, but it's got to be in the context of a strategy. So thanks, Derek, for that question. Now, next question, Chad has asked this question, Iman, because Chad was at our marketing masterclass where we ran through marketing automation, but we explained the concept of conversion rate optimization, which is a separate discipline to search engine optimization. So making sure that people come to your website actually do what you want them to do. Subscribe to a newsletter, download an ebook, sign up for a webinar, whatever it might be. So Chad's question is, at what stage in an SEO strategy should we be thinking about or working on conversion rate optimization?
Yeah, that's a great question, Chad. I would say when you first start getting the first trickle of traffic, at least get enough statistical data, through Google Analytics, how many people are coming to your website, how many are inquiring, what are the top exit pages or top landing pages. SEO's job is ultimately to get you exposure, to bring people off the Google searches and onto your website when they click that. So ultimately, SEO, that's the biggest job. Conversion rate optimization is a whole different practice altogether, as MC pointed out. And I would suggest starting doing that when you start seeing some, substantive traffic coming through to your website, and you have a bit of a data to back it up. You can set up a conversion rate tracking early on with Google Analytics and use that data as part of the conversion rate optimization by A/B testing, changing images, headlines, and that sort of thing to see how that affects your conversion rate in the back end of Google Analytics.
So a couple of things quickly to add to that. Chad, I believe you're subscribing to our service, which is the Marketing Metrics Dashboard service, which shows all of your metrics on the one screen. Have a look and ensure that you have conversion goals showing. So that's something that can be set up in Google Analytics. So that's what you want people to click on and do on your website. You should do that very, very early on. That's very easy. And some of the conversion rate optimization tools are things that you can implement in half an hour. So Hello Bar or things like Sumo Me, there's various tools that can encourage people to click on ebooks and download. So that's another topic for a future webinar, but basically do start on it in a small way. The bucket is the analogy. You've got to have water flowing into the bucket. That's your traffic. But if you've got gaping holes down the bottom of the bucket, and you're not converting visitors into people who then want to hear from you, well, that's a problem too. But you could have a brilliant bucket with no water in it. So it's a little bit of chicken and the egg. I would say do a bit of both, but start with your SEO. And then once you've got, say, over 100 unique visitors coming through every week, then conversion rate optimization, we've seen it triple and quadruple how quick your email marketing database grows. It's quite phenomenal. It's almost like flicking a switch. So thanks, Chad, for asking that. Officially, we've got 3 minutes to go. due to
if I may add, if I may add that, MC, conversion rate optimization is not possible without SEO. You need to get the traffic first. It's a case of, which one came first, the chicken or the egg. So, because SEO came first, that was the answer.
Yeah, so exactly. You've got to get the traffic flowing first. Now, another question, Alex asks, we talked a little bit about the long tail, but he asked, what are your thoughts on tools like Longtail Pro as a piece of software, and Market Samurai?
Yep.
We might go through this one quickly. Got a few minutes.
Yeah, certainly. They're good tools to have. We do use a lot of tools. Market Samurai is definitely one of the tools that I use with keyword research. There are a ton of tools out there that help you with getting the long tail, variations of your main keywords. I do use Market Samurai. I have used Longtail Pro, but not too heavily. So I do combine Market Samurai research with Google, keyword tool, and that's the answer.
Now, personally, I would say it's a bit like you as, let's say you're an accountant or business advisor. You know how you often recommend to your clients, don't do your own bookkeeping. Get someone who actually knows what they're doing to do it. You can spend and burn a lot of time with the DIY mindset around learning some of these more complex tools. Personally, as an entrepreneur, be careful of that, because you could be doing other things like creating great content and looking after your clients really well, upselling, cross-selling, and doing other things. Okay, now Brad asks, and great to see you online, Brad. Look forward to catching up. Hi guys, is there a way you can find out if your website has been listed by Google?
The answer to that is do a search using site, semicolon, your website name. And then if your website, gets listed on the first page, then you're safe. If it's not, then chances are you've been blacklisted. Or if your homepage and all the inner pages are not showing up in the Google when searching, that's also another signal you've been blacklisted.
Okay, so that was to type SITE singular, then colon, then your domain, and then if your site is listed there, you're okay.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, all right. Brad, feel free to send through an email. Seeing as you're a member of the Modern Marketing Academy, feel free to send through an email. By the way, anyone here too can also ask questions on our LinkedIn group as well after today's session. Now, technically, we've got 1 minute to go. We're going to go for another 4 minutes because we started 3 minutes late. All right. Steve asks, I'm about to redo one of my websites and change the hosting arrangements. Does this affect my history, i.e. does it reset my length of time on the internet?
Yeah, good question. I get this question asked a lot, actually. It does not affect your history or reset anything because your domain is separate to the hosting. Chances are, however, that if your host, say you have a website that's hosted in Australia and you change hosting to HostGator or GoDaddy and they're based in the US, then that will sort of affect your rankings, but it will not affect your history. So you don't have to worry about history.
So which host you choose can affect what country Google sees you as being in. So be careful with your selection. We've got some recommended hosts that we use when we build websites. But again, we'll skip through the detail on that now. Now, another question that Steve asked was, and I'll quickly answer it, WordPress.com or WordPress.org? Absolutely WordPress.org. I should have explained earlier, that's what we mean by self-hosted WordPress. WordPress.com is cookie cutter like Wix. Don't go that way unless you're a hobbyist who just needs something incredibly simple for a business. Self-hosted, which is WordPress.org. And Steve, while we're on Steve, he asked another question. From an SEO perspective, Iman, what about Vimeo versus YouTube?
I tend to use YouTube. I do use Vimeo for, it looks better. It produces a lot of the better resolution videos. And I do use it a fair bit for marketing, but YouTube is my sort of modus operandi in terms of ranking videos on Google. Google respects YouTube a lot more than Vimeo from my experience because they've got a shared interest in YouTube, and of course whatever they have a shared interest in, they'd like to look after that a bit more, and it's got a more powerful tool where you can actually specify your geolocation and add the keywords and that sort of thing, and that I find YouTube it's much easier to rank for than Vimeo. And
a little known fact, many of us will know it, but YouTube is the second largest search engine after Google, not Bing and Yahoo. But people don't think of it as a search engine, but in terms of number of daily searches, etc., it's massive. and being owned by Google would definitely lean that way. But don't get hung up with the tyranny of the or. Is that the way to go, or is that the way to go? Often the answer is and. Post the content to both if you've got resources to do that. Now, lastly, and by the way, while I'm just reading this out, Iman, if you could go back to the second last slide again so that those that want to take you up on the complimentary SEO health check know the details, subject line and the email to use. So Stephen asks, when you showed, so this is a detailed question, when you showed the keyword tool earlier, was it a broad match or exact match that you showed?
Excellent question, Stephen. So it was broad match, but what happened was that when Google changed their keyword tool from the old version to the new version, I find that it's very, very little different when you actually select broad versus exact. So that by default is broad match, and I always use broad match, for all my searches. Okay,
brilliant. Now we've done well to actually have it webinar exactly for an hour at this point. It's a few minutes late. So just to wrap up, I'd just like to thank you, Iman. A backstory for everyone. Paradox has been passionate about SEO and seeking out the best in this field now for about 18 months. And I've got to tell you, SEO is a minefield. There are a lot of operators who talk a good game and who don't deliver. So with Iman, he's achieving brilliant results for people subscribing to the SEO implementation service and for us. So we're actually using the service ourselves, and because it's so measurable, it just consistently works from one month to the next. So thanks, Iman, for today's presentation. Thanks, everyone, for attending today. If you're one of the first 12 to email through grow@practiceparadox.com.au with the subject free SEO checkup, please, Iman will then be in touch. Look out for emails about other webinars we've got coming up. Part 2 of this series, drilling down into some more depth. Part 3 of this series for members only, and also for members of Paradox with the Modern Marketing Academy. Look out for notification of the next Ask Us Anything, Your Marketing Questions Answered webinar coming up in February. So bye for now, and look forward to seeing you all online again next webinar.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.